whatever milestones that Black people make against hate, it ends up benefiting all the other people of color. I can't see what his end game is. The Republican Party is the party of racism, is the party of white supremacy, is the party of hate. This is wrong, and it needs to stop.
Everybody wants to go back and drag that piece of history up, but they don't want to go back and deal with what their ancestors did to the indigenous people and to Black people in this country. You got to go. And you got billionaires talking about going to space and Jeff Bezos, go, never come back. I hope you get lost. This man has lost his mind.
Boom! Come on, girlfriend. What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, I host the only online conversation in the world for dads and fathers that is sponsored by Dove Men Care. It's also co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization. And being part of that team last year, was able to reach out to over 100,000 fathers around the world. As always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Really excited as always because it's a Saturday night, and Saturday night, 9 p.m. Once in a while replay, but most of the time we are live with two outstanding ladies. And actually, we have a fourth lady, but she's in the background tonight. We'll tell you a little about her as we get along in the conversation a bit later. But it is State of Things with Aisha K. Staggers and Jill Jones. What's going on?
Hello.
Hey, what's going on, ladies? How we doing?
Fantastic.
Oh, good. Today was such a good day.
What made it a good day today?
I slept 12 hours.
Oh,
I went to bed. It's like I came and sat, and then after work yesterday, I sat down in my recliner. No, it's very comfortable. I was watching TV, and then I woke up at 7 a.m.
Oh, gosh.
12 hours sleep.
Yeah.
Jill, when was the last time you had a 12?
I don't sleep that long.
You don't?
No, I have a Fitbit, so it kind of tells me that, 3 hours, 4 hours, maybe. Lately, I've been only getting 7.
That's
7
okay,
points,
though.
7.5, which is good, just for 2 nights. But normally, it's no more than 5.
See, I'm usually
like
a 3 to 4 hour sleeper.
It's terrible.
Overnight.
I'm making myself shut everything off these days because I like getting the 8 hours, like close to it as possible.
3 or 4 hours?
Yeah, usually. And that's why I was, that and just other things happening throughout the week. I was so tired. And when I woke up, I woke up actually around 1 because I'm like, there's this light on it. I don't understand why. My refrigerator, for some reason, was open, like opened on its own. I don't know. Maybe the ghost in the apartment. I don't know. I went and closed and went back and woke up at 7. And when I woke up at 7, I was like, ooh, what am I going to do today? I had a good meal earlier.
Yeah.
Today was sushi Saturday, so I had vegetarian sushi. It was really good. And
very nice.
Then I literally just sat in one place all day and just listened to music.
Huh.
What are some of the songs you heard?
I watched a Sam Cooke documentary earlier today on Netflix.
Oh, wow.
It's called The Two Killings of Sam Cooke. And it's about the killing of his the attempted killing of his reputation after he was murdered, and then the actual murder itself. And I went down that rabbit hole.
Okay.
So I started with Sam Cooke, and I ended up somewhere like somewhere in 1990 something.
Okay. Cool.
So it was good. It was good.
Jill, what were you up to today?
I have been, it's so funny. I've been doing just a lot of research for sort of a new a new plan, a new healthcare kind of plan for myself, like just creating my new healing plan.
Okay.
So I was just doing some research, reading some documents, finishing a book about the hot belly diet, things like that. And it's so funny. After, I was told I had all this high cholesterol and stuff. It was right after I'd purchased this book, which is Gastro Obscura, which is totally a food adventurer's guide around the world with all sorts of incredible, wonderful things to go and try. The Gilded Tower of Gin, there's the courtship foods, Korean nun cuisine. So I'm a real foodie, but that has actually, so now I'm finishing this book, which is the Hot Belly Diet.
Okay.
And sort of just addressing, because my whole, since the pandemic, I think my dosha changed, which is in Ayurvedic terms, it's like your body type. And I went into kapha. I used to be vata, which was like a dry, with the asthma and all this stuff. But then because of just these 2-year periods, I turned into this kapha, which is weight gain, lethargic, all of these really, and fogginess, and just not really interested in things. And I said, wow, I really need to address this because it's really hard for me to complete something. So that's what I've been doing, and really making an attempt. I mean, really, because I want my blood work to be really good the next time. And I just think it's time to change it, because you get into this tamasic mentality, which in Ayurvedic terms is very negative and very dark. And I'm not going to be good for anybody if I'm going to be just negative. So I want to try to change some stuff in myself.
Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, I was on the treadmill today, burned about 800 calories.
Oh, wow.
And then and in about 45 minutes.
That's awesome.
And the one of the main reasons why I work out, yes, the health reason is good, but I love my shower after my workout.
Yeah.
I love my 20-minute shower.
Whoa, wait a minute. 800 calories?
I mean, you were just
doing in 45 minutes. That's amazing.
Yeah. And but I love my shower. I go in there, shave the head, and I just love the feel. Hey, ask us anything, a little tidbit. One of the Dr. Vibe's favorite things is a good shower.
Yeah.
It's good shower. I prize it.
Oh my gosh, the best sleep is after a good shower.
Oh, yeah, that actually, when I'm in a funk, that's my go-to, taking a shower.
Wow.
That is my go-to.
Very nice.
See, mine is taking a bath, actually. Yeah.
I haven't taken a bath forever.
Right.
I'm going to have to do that. I haven't taken a bath. I know some people bath in candles or bath.
You do a bath and then you do a shower to rinse off, or you do a shower before you take the bath, because otherwise you're kind of just sitting in your
dirt. Yeah, exactly.
And then you take it, when you're done, you take a nice cold shower. I mean, this is just for relaxation, because I got a lot of the onsen salt water things from the Japanese places, and I use the onsen ones because they're very fragrant, but there is a whole process of Japanese bathing. I love it. I would love to have a Japanese bathtub. The ones that come all the way up here.
Well, I don't think people want to hear us talking about our bath.
Yeah, sorry.
So I think we better get to it. Hey, as always, big hail up. I think our most loyal fan, as always, Jen Myers. Hello, Jen Myers.
Hi, Jen.
I tried to talk her into coming on with us.
That's all right. We ain't going anywhere. We're just going to say one day we're going to get her on, right? So we ain't going anywhere. So let's start. And Jill says she doesn't want the negative stuff. Well, I think some of these topics you make sure you take a good bath after this, Jill.
Totally.
All right.
Totally.
Let's start it off. First conversation topic tonight. Takeaway from Friday's January 6th focus hearing on the bid to disqualify one of Aisha's favorite ladies, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
You mean the gun-toting militant Neanderthal Barbie?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's like her ancestors directly, like her, they're direct descendants of the Neanderthals.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they didn't do any changing along the way when they made her.
I know, you know.
I don't know. It is kind of it's ironic. It's not even a. It's just you have to concede that there's an issue.
Yeah,
and which I have to say, guys, if you ever get a chance to go online, and we should link this in one of our 15 minutes things, that BBC documentary about if Neanderthals' voices. And that is enough.
Where are you going with that?
But no, we will link it into our show
Okay.
thing. Because you have to treat yourself. And they talk like this.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Because of the way their vocal cords were shaped.
Those are her people.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most amazing thing to hear. Like, they had a scenario as if somebody was sitting at a bar and the guy walks up and goes, "Can I have your number?"
That's how she talks, though. That's how you know those are her phones.
Okay, we're just a little over 11 minutes in, and I already feel like I have to pull the Kleenex from my tears already. So what is the purpose of this? Of her being testifying? It's not going to go anywhere.
Well, the whole thing is that it wasn't that she was testifying. She wasn't testifying to the January 6th committee. So that is something different. Here she's testifying because a group of voters brought up Amendment 14 challenge to her being on the ballot. And the law says that if you have done some kind of treacherous, insurrectional kind of stuff, you can't be on the ballot.
And since Merrick Garbage has been doing his job so well, it's pretty honorable that those people took it upon themselves to do that. Don't you think? I think it's really amazing.
And you know, I got a different perspective kind of on the Justice Department today, watching actually Reverend Al Sharpton's show. And there was a DOJ reporter on there today. And she said, you know, it might be obvious to us that he has enough, but remember, he has to prove it to a jury beyond a shadow of a doubt. So, and the weight of discovery and all of that is on him. The weight of the proof is on him. So he has to prove without a shadow of a doubt. So not giving him any excuses here that he should be he should definitely be more diligent. I think that they should give us a little bit more information.
I think that reporter needs to think about what they're saying, because the reality is that we already know that Trump and his people were already saying they've got every avenue covered, every avenue, which was, where are you going to find an unbiased jury? This is a worldwide thing, and where there wouldn't be anybody who could. So Merrick is garbage. He's like Ellie.
I don't think he's not garbage.
Ellie Mistal has said he sits, and it's a joke now. If you say about any Republican being charged for anything, everybody laughs. It's like nobody takes it seriously. The DOJ has no credibility. They go for low punters. They go for people that we don't even know who they are. And then they lock them up. We don't care about them. But we certainly know that Merrick Garland is the worst thing that could have happened to this country. And if Joe Biden gives a damn, he'll figure this out, because they're not going to do anything. And if everybody thinks that he's going to rush right in and do it right before the election, you're wrong.
I honestly don't think that he's going to. And I think that he is, like I said, I said it on Twitter, I think he's the most useful AG. However, the one thing that I do acknowledge is that these people on the top are very public facing people. So the burden of proof to drag them into a courtroom is going to have to be beyond breakable.
Well, gee, I mean, we can't even. I think that that's the job they signed up for, and it just means you just got out lawyered. I mean, sorry, if he's too afraid of choking, that's ridiculous. These are new times. People are out lawyering our DOJ. They're being out lawyered, which is unheard of. Unheard of that you can get federally indicted and you are out lawyered. I've never even known that could happen. Usually, people who have a federal indictment come to the play. They're not playing. They usually, their lawyers will be like, oh, don't hang on. You gotta make a deal, or you gotta figure something out. That's not happening here.
That we know of.
It's not happening.
That we know of, because on average, and I'll get back to Marjorie Taylor Greene.
And you can't say that they've had death threats. They had death threats when they
No, that's not what I'm going to say.
No, but I mean, some people have said, oh, but he has threats. I heard it the other day on MSN. He has threats. Well, when they took in John Gotti and all the other different mobsters, those lawyers and those people at high levels were getting death threats too. So that's what these people have signed up for.
Well, what I will say what I was going to say before you get back to Marjorie Taylor is this one thing that on average, it takes at least 2.5 to 3 years before someone is even brought to court in anything. Mostly, especially when you're talking about something like this, definitely when you're talking about murder, the court cases take X number of years from the time that even charges are brought till it sees the actual court date. So hopefully.
And why are they treating this like it's a regular custodian, civilian type of situation? Why? They're acting like this is one of Donald Trump's bankruptcies. This is not. This is people who are of age where they're not going to be living very long. Number one, I think Merrick Garland wants to run the clock on it and hopefully hope that one of these old geezers dies so he doesn't have to deal with it.
Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene,
I know.
This literally sat there. This for me was the most egregious thing about Friday's testimony. Someone said all but. I'm like, all but. She perjured herself on the stand multiple times. So, for example, one of the things they asked her was, did you ever say that Nancy Pelosi was a traitor? And she's like, no. And then he said, well, okay, let's show the evidence. And she was like, oh, no. Oh, yeah. It's like, oh. And she did that multiple times. Like, it's like every time is either, I don't know, I don't remember. And then when they started to bring out the proof, it was like, oh, no. See, you misunderstood me. It's like, how do you misunderstand someone saying that you're not going to have a peaceful, and she goes like this, peaceful transition of power like Biden wants? It's like, no, the transition of power has always been peaceful. You're talking about starting a war. And they have evidence of her saying that she was in a meeting in the December before that, was it December 21st, 2020? She was in a meeting with Matt Gaetz, Jim Jordan, and a couple of
Grassley, wasn't he there?
Meeting, and a couple of other people.
Pence was there
for January 6th.
Yeah.
And they did this without Pence there because they weren't so sure he was going to show up.
Ollie, whatever his name is.
Oh, the guy
Ollie
from
Oxenfree.
Ollie
Oxenfree.
What was it? The Bad Boys of Brooklyn, or what are they called? The Proud Boys.
Like, can they deport Ollie back to ISIS? Isn't that where they found him? Wasn't he like the head of ISIS or something?
Oh,
I always laugh when I see him. They're like the leader of the Proud Boys, and it's this brown man, right? And I'm like, but
they're not very smart men. That sometimes happens, in life. And these guys, the Cuban guy, him too, and Ollie, I don't know, was he like a teacher for the Taliban or something? The one who helped plan all this stuff.
I've got a question. You guys are terrible, but good. But so I have a question. So Aisha, and I agree with you. Usually with normal cases, it takes 2 to 3 years for them to really get anywhere. So people who want a conviction, by that time, could there be a change in the House and Senate, and this just maybe a pipe dream?
Well, here's the thing, and this was
I'm
why.
just saying.
Well, here's the thing, and this is why I really clung onto what this reporter was saying earlier today, is that she was saying, remember, Congress cannot press charges against anyone. Remember, because they're a legislative body,
Yep.
not a criminal law enforcement. So what they can do is pass laws. So what we have had, though, I have to say, since then, is if that's the case, and this is how it's supposed to play out, then in case, as I said, we have control of the House and Senate and been very lazy with it, because they should have been passing laws left and right, because they actually, the thing is that and the excuse that Manchin and Sinema won't get it through the Senate. So what? Guess what? Even if it doesn't pass through the Senate, if it passes in the House, and then you have a Democratic majority and those are just 2 Democrats, even if it doesn't clear through and become law that Biden can sign, the attempt is what is needed. People need to see that attempt that you're trying to stop this from happening again.
If I'm in that camp, I think it looks better optics wise. At least tried. If I'm in that camp,
how dare you not even try, and then expect us to vote for you again this fall? I mean, Jamie Raskin, who is a representative from Maryland, is saying that these things are like really explosive. Like he mentioned something about Pence talking about not wanting to get in the car that was sent to him to go there, because he wasn't sure the car was going to take him to the White House. That was the thing. They were trying to stop Pence from getting to the White House. I mean, sorry, not the White House, the Capitol building, so that he could not certify, because they knew he was just going to follow the law.
Yeah.
And so
that's gangster.
Yeah. And so, I mean, they said this is what they know. They're going to put it on TV at some point. However, it's apparent that the committee has known this for some time. And it's like, y'all aren't a law enforcement agency, so why are you keeping it hush hush? Because the thing is that all you're doing is gathering information to share with the American people. Why are you so quiet?
I just feel that the time for anything effectively done on that is gone.
I agree.
This is optics, and it's not sticking, and there are more pressing things on the American, unfortunately, on the American psyche in regards to inflation and things like that. But it's not a good look on America.
Well, no, it's not that it's not a good look on America. It's not a good look on Democrats in America.
Exactly.
Let's be very
It's not
clear,
a good look on the Democrats,
because they are. It's like, wake up.
There are all the
independents
have been migrating to just vote for Republicans again, so they say.
Yeah,
I don't even know. Or what's going to ultimately happen is there won't be a really big turnout. I know it's critical that people turn out, but people tend to go into holes and just go, I can't take this anymore. I just don't want any part of it. Like taking a shower, dealing with these people in politics makes you want to have a shower. I mean, look at that Madison Cawthorn.
Yeah. I mean, Democrats.
And in bad lingerie too, by the way.
Know. Democrats had a full year
cheap,
to really.
Tacky lingerie.
I know, it's really bad. It's like one of those bad lingerie parties.
It was like, oh, dude, that's a 99-cent bra.
Yeah, you know the ones, those parties that your girlfriends invite you to sell lingerie. Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Horrible.
But the sad part is that Democrats have had more than a year to deal with the messaging around this thing. It's like they'll bring it up here and there, but they don't really want to face it head on. Two things are going to happen in the fall if Democrats don't get on the messaging. Either one, the people who supported Biden that were not Democrats, you're going to lose them. They're going to go vote Republican again. Or two, regular Democrats, that people that generally vote Democrats, aren't going to show up to the polls.
Right.
And the problem that there is in that is that Democrats have not taken the opportunity. They're trying, we're going to stay out the fray. We're not going to talk about the cultural issues. No, talk about them. Sit here and pound it. The same way Republicans are like, CRT, CRT, CRT. You have to counter that. And it's like when people are spreading out lies, don't just sit there and assume that Americans are going to put 1 + 1 together and get 2. You have too many Americans here putting 1 + 1 together and getting 13. So the problem that they have with this is that they should have been saying, these are the people that we have some information who have been involved. Don't listen to what they say. Keep going with the message. I mean, they're doing this with the CRT stuff. That's the reason the whole defund police thing got out of hand, because it was a bad message to begin with, but then they never really full frontally got in front of it. They just let it go. It's like, we're out the fray. We're above guess what? The reason why Republicans win, they fight dirty. Fight dirty. Sometimes you got to get in the gutter with people who are already there. Sometimes you have to. And it's like, for example, even that CRT book that DeSantis was like, that MacBook is CRT, so I'm getting rid of all the MacBooks. Mind you, it's someone that donates to his campaign that owns the company. But when you look at the books, there's an article that shows all the books, and there's no mention of any kind of cultural stuff. It's just the pictures of little black and brown children mixed with the white children that they don't like. That is what they're calling CRT now. And if they're to that point where they're just calling pictures of children of color CRT, and the Dems aren't doing anything about it, we're in line for a rude awakening.
All right, just to interject, Tamara says hello, everyone from Texas.
Hey,
and Christy White says about Madison's dress, it was super tacky.
Totally.
It's like he took 3 different pieces of lingerie and put them on at the same time.
Well, he can't put anything on too much.
What do you mean by that?
Wait,
because he can't. He can only do neck up, right? Isn't that it?
Look,
I don't know why he was even invited to the smorgasbord.
Exactly. This is after he said the thing about
the padding that they created around the neck for him, because that's really the only area that he can use. So maybe somebody can put their legs over the padding of those horrible bras.
Before we go any further, Christy White says exactly. But so can you educate us?
Was out here talking about he remembers $3 gas. Last time gas was $3 was like 1999, and he was 3. What 3-year-old is paying about?
Well, he doesn't remember much. He certainly got caught again the other day with a DUI and got away with it. Got to roll.
Got his license suspended.
And they made the girl drive him home instead of him driving. It didn't matter. See, this is why Elie Mystal and mostly everybody else now is like, it's a joke. We don't expect any kind of justice to be served here or in anything. I mean, I don't. I really don't.
The judge did say that they could not that he could be put on the ballot in North Carolina, and the voters appealed that. So now there's going to be another hearing to see whether now that they have this information about him also being on that meeting.
They whine so much they get on. In the case of Marjorie, Taylor Greene, I mean, she's like, I don't recall. First of all, she's a coward. She's a punk. She sells a lot of wolf tickets and can't deliver anything. She punked out. She had the opportunity to own everything she said, but she's full of it. She's a big old coward. She couldn't stand beside anything, or she has early onset dementia. The fact that she can't remember a damn thing of her time in office. That to me is just in itself enough to be like, don't put her on the ballot because you can't remember nothing. You can't even remember how you got here today.
But that's what I read that the prosecutors were hoping for, because I was reading some legal paper. They were like, the best way the prosecutors can really get her is that if she claims that she doesn't remember, and then they bring out the evidence to show it, and she tried to continue to get in front of the evidence, but it's there. It's there that she said no at first.
Yeah,
and
she
then,
still like made it seem like, Casper the Friendly Ghost got a hold of her phone, and she was like going, I don't know why it says, Heil. I don't know why it says that, Joe Biden is not president. Seriously, if then they should put her on a 5150, because
Yeah.
girlfriend, if that's what they want, she don't remember nothing.
She got mental health issues. Guess what?
Yeah.
Look, if she
And she's
can't,
voting
and that was
on
the other
things.
thing that they were saying in that piece is that, well, if she can't remember, one, she proves she doesn't need to be on the ballot anyway, because we don't want a senile congresswoman, right?
Absolutely. Mind you, we have our old dust bag out here,
right?
Feinstein,
But it still doesn't stop all the stuff from being used as evidence, and they're entering the evidence.
My God!
So the
She's
judge
like the
is going
dust
to
bunny
see
that
all
won't
those
go
videos,
away.
even though he was playing for the cameras. Remember that she's playing for the cameras, and two, specifically a party of one, Donald Trump. But all those videos, they might not have been able to say it out, in front of the TV cameras. But guess what? That judge got them.
And you know what doesn't work for women who have very broad shoulders, because I have them and I've made this mistake.
Shoulder pads.
Wearing a dress that cuts in here, it makes you look like a linebacker. It just only emphasizes your shoulders. You look like you're ready to, like, she may have that other kind of concussion, but she had this, and I couldn't get over the width of her shoulders. I was like, it's possible. She's at the gym a lot. Something's fallen and hit her on her head, clearly, but she looks like a linebacker. It's not the outfit. Please, I hope no one took fashion notes from her, but that was always don't do this. We need to find something that goes, do this instead. I will say Nancy Pelosi does know how to dress. I'm not a huge fan of her all the time, but she really does know how to dress for her size. But some of these young girls creeping up, come on. It's like Marge, come on. So Marge needed some Prevagen. Maybe she can get an ad with them. Maybe they'll pay her to say, I've been taking it now, and I remember every damn thing I said. But she's the type that will walk away and not be on court, and tomorrow go, yeah, I said it. I had nothing. Of course I said it. Yeah, I did. And everybody would be like, you were on stand and you said you didn't. Oh, I remember what I said. And then what? You're going to have to take her back into court. This is who she is. She's a joke, and she's a ridiculous human being. Just a ridiculous. Think about it. We'll hear her next week saying that
she stood up for freedom.
Yeah.
See it? Right. Look, senile Neanderthal linebacker Barbie.
I know.
Okay.
My God.
Well, speaking about, and things are just going really well in the world.
And remember, Neanderthal people were very boxy.
I'm going on to the next conversation topic.
I heard it was Neanderthal. Or Neanderthal.
And
so there's a whole discrepancy, because even the ones who got their ancestry back and it said they were related, they're upset that we're all, everybody's always so upset, but the Neanderthal descendants of some people are upset.
Let's move on to our next. Things going really well in the Republican Party. Some more fun. 45 McCarthy talk audio shows that lawmaker was ready to push 45 to resign.
Ooh. So Kevin lied again after the video was out. Like, first of all, he lied before the video was out. They're just like, oh, this is in the book. And he was like, nah, I never said that. That meeting never took place. Oh, we have audio. And they Marjorie Taylor Greened him. And then he goes, like, when he's like, okay. So his response to it is like, well, I never asked him to resign. Dude, I have seen that recording on TV several times. Each time you told Liz Cheney you were going to ask him, and that you did already ask.
Right.
Or suggested. You said that in that video. So what are you basically saying? You lied to the rest of the Congress people, because here's the thing, he's like in between a rock and a hard place, right? Because he can't say that he said it because he doesn't want to make Donald Trump mad, but also the lying about it it creates a problem for him trying to be
and get money
and get
also
money, because
when he wants to run.
People, and you can best believe a lot of people are going to start pulling their donations from him because he flip-flopped like that. And it's just a really, really weird situation. I guess he assumed, like in some books that people write about these political conversations, they've heard this stuff from other people, or even people that were in the conversation, but it's, again, hearsay. I guess he didn't expect them to have the audio.
True.
And guess what? That's not the only audio they have of conversations with Kevin McCarthy. They're going to release some come Monday.
Right.
You're kidding. More is coming?
Yes, more is coming.
Oh, wow.
He might as well just resign right now.
Well,
I think that the Democratic Party needs to get musicians to remix it and play it over. So we get with a really nice hook, so that every single thing, so that people start singing these crazy things that they've done. I think it's really important. They should start hiring.
I think they should hire you on the campaign team of the Democrats and have you pay you to do some mixed tracks for the campaign.
Absolutely. I mean, you just have to make it catchy and do some remixes to it, because Kevin McCarthy has had some real zingers in there when he's talked about Trump in the past. And, hook it up with it, start making some videos of all these things that these people have done, because it's public domain. It's like, it's not, anybody could do this, but at this point, they're just, the craziest thing was California got rid of Devin Nunes by having him like jump off a cliff and join that freaking social network that Trump had. So that's why we don't have his anymore. So with Kevin McCarthy, it's kind of like, what's going to be his downfall? Because he's going to have one. It's just a matter of time.
Well, they paid Devin Nunes $100 million to go away. Somebody with that kind of cash needs to hook Kevin up.
Absolutely. The thing is, these kind of people never go away. They always want to put their money and form their little super PACs and their things, and still stay in there with their hands still in the pie of our legislation, which is horrible.
And the super PAC thing is what gets me, because you'll have these former Republican people, like look at Paul Ryan. He's part of a super PAC, and the super PAC does not have, that's why I hate super PAC laws. They don't have to report who is donating the money.
Right. And that's absurd. And it can be foreign
nationals. If a regular PAC has to, then a super PAC,
I agree,
should have to do it and go even further, even produce the tax records of their donors. I mean, super PAC should mean that you have more restrictions to jump over, but it means less. And so I think that this is really, the hope is there that this really is damaging to Kevin McCarthy's political career. But then you also remember that these Trump voters, they still can see something clear as day and call it something else. And so you're kind of like, that sounded really good. It's on tape, but they'll go back to, well, Kevin said he didn't. So that's how they rationalize their
do you think behavior. How much do you think McCarthy is going to have to is he going to get the seat that he wants, the prominence that he wants? Because it seems there's so much stuff going against him.
I think Trump would come in and if Trump could go back in and take the seat, I think he would dust him off in no time flat. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think he'd think twice about eliminating Kevin McCarthy from that.
Well, here's the thing. Anyone who thinks that Trump's not going to run in 2024 is an idiot, because that man's ego is so big. It's like, it's even though he knows he shouldn't, it's that ego, that lust for popularity and control is what's going to cause him to run, whether he wins or not. And I think that if God forbid he did win, he'd have McCarthy.
Yeah.
So here's my question though, then. like if McCarthy, what, like I can't see him physically staying on with the party. Like he's embarrassed himself so much.
He's got 2 more years after this, if I'm not mistaken, right? Isn't he?
He's in the House, so every 2 years he's up.
Oh yeah, he's up this year.
Yeah, this year.
Yeah,
So
I
then
mean,
if he wins this year, then he won't come back up until 2024. And here's the thing. The best way to neutralize McCarthy is for every Democrat to vote like it was 2020. Vote like this is like he's the mini Donald Trump.
which I don't think we're going to get that this time, though.
No.
I honestly just think that the Democrats have lost it. I just think that people are like saying, I mean, you know, we're dealing with it where the Republicans are revising old bills from like the 80s, like with that don't say you're gay or don't say gay and all that. That's like a relic from the AIDS epidemic and that era.
Right.
So when they start revising old stuff, people go, oh, there was a law like that. I never knew about it. Oh, it must have not been that bad. And so people just see that the times are getting more screwed up, and for sure they're going to vote for their pockets, for sure, without any second thought to ethics or morals or anything. When the times are as bad as they are right now, and everybody's sitting back here looking at what this idiot, the Parkinson riddled jerk in Russia is sitting over there doing on his last dying days. I mean, what we're basically looking at is everybody feeling very inept and totally cut off and saying, wow, this stuff is about to go down. Let me go make my money. It's the only thing that takes you out of a desperate situation. And of course, there's the hopeful ones that they're all going to make millions and billions of dollars, but it doesn't hurt to try. So no, they don't want regulations on things like that that's going to help the potential where they can start up or do this or run off with more money. They know that we don't have any justice system here. So it's better to go in, grab the bag and run. And if they catch you, they catch you. That's the kind of what the Democrats are not seeing, that game that happens with the people. They're out of touch with how people's survival skills are at the moment. They're out of touch. They don't get it anymore. People are like, screw the Kennedy times and screw, the Cuban Missile stuff. We're not about stiff upper lip and blah, blah, blah. Everybody's like, take the money and run, son. That's where we are. This is America. It's back as the Wild West days were.
But that's what
same mentality.
That's the problem that Democrats have. It's like, look, you're not going to, here's the bottom line. You're not going to win 2022 by trying to push, we'll lower the cost. We've lowered the cost of insulin. We're lowering the cost of gas, because guess what? Your competition is not even talking about that.
And guess what? People just steal it.
Right.
They just go in and get it.
Talking about the cultural issues. You need to put a stop to it. Period. Yes. That's the first thing. The second thing, for me, is that there's this self-fulfilling prophecy. See, you got to remember, this thing that Democrats are going to take over, Republicans are going to win 2024 is one, a Republican boosted misnomer. It's also a media created thing, because it's not real. What do they base that on? They look back at how this happened in the last couple of elections, in last couple of presidencies and things like that. But it's like, but wait a second, just because it happened then, you're looking at the best of times. We're now in the worst of times. So that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen. The media, they were the first people to start talking about this last year. They planted the seed last year. That's like, oh, Republicans, are likely to take over. You don't know that, because you don't know. But hell, there's a whole bunch of kids who were born in 2002, like my daughter, who will be first-time voters this time around. And remember, that year after 9/11, a lot of babies were born. So they don't necessarily know for sure, but they're saying it and they're saying it and they're saying it. And Democrats are just going with it like aimlessly, like they even believe it. And it's like, no, you fight to the bitter end and you tell these media people to shut up because it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. They put that message out there and then the public hears it so much. And then people are like, oh, well, if that's what's going to happen, why do I vote?
I just don't think that I think the Democratic Party tries to stand on top of this, moral, we're going to bring morality back, and you're not. It's done. Right. It's gone. Right. Don't play that game right now. We can't deal with that because what happens is they come across sanctimonious and as if they're looking down on other people that are basically by hooking or crooking it these days to get by. Everybody on some level in middle America is hooking or crooking it to pay their mortgages, to eat, to whatever. This is what it is. So don't deny that and talk down to them as if, well, we're going to go back to the days where you're going to make $7.25 an hour and we're going to fight really hard so you can maybe get 15. That's not what people want. That's why they look up to people like an Elon Musk or, all these if they gave a damn about like deadbeat fathers, then, they wouldn't, people give a damn about the things that they're, there's no shame in that. They have family members that can't afford to pay their child support. So seeing, Elon Musk, who seems to have billions of dollars, but no time to spend with his kids because it's always online. Anyway, that's another story, but these are the types of personas they embody that they look up to. A Donald Trump who, clearly just believes that, doesn't give a damn about anybody else but himself. But that's because they are reflections of the nation's people. Mm-hmm. This is who these people are in our country, whether it be that, people can't sit and hang out with their kids because they don't freaking know them. They've been working like freaking animals for like the last 30 years. They don't know anything. You just cut people off and left them hanging. And like I said, they're hooking or crooking it to get over. And they want to take that chance with the new American dream that I could be a billionaire in one go. The first taste of it was those, scratch and sniff cards that they got. What is it for the lottery?
Oh, the scratch offs.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah. And Jill said exactly what I would have said, what I was going to say or whatever. But it just, you got to remember, these people are
Jill, scratch and sniff, Jill. Scratch.
Might as well be. I mean, okay. I'm expecting one of these politicians to be like, scratch and sniff and you can smell my panties, and vote for me. I don't know anymore.
Oh, like my goodness.
To that point, it is so low grade, like just bad. That old Marsha, whatever, with that old crazy hairdo, that old ass lady with scratch and sniff panties. You wanted to vote for me? Here's my panties.
Let's move on.
Marsha Blackburn, scratch and sniff panties.
You know what, though? I have to say this, though, but Jill's right, because these are people who will vote for a higher. Yeah, these people will vote for a higher tax bracket. They don't care if their taxes get raised, but they'll vote for Republicans who are going to raise taxes because they hold up that hope that one day they'll get their 15 minutes of fame and their $3 million. Yes. And then they don't want taxes on their money. So, and it's like, but I have news for everyone out there. You're not going to be rich. Period.
Okay.
No.
Period. Millions aren't coming. There will be
says that sounds fantastic. I do know you have a new fan club assembling. And good evening, Cinnamon Canela. I went a bit late. You're never late. You're always on time when it comes to State of Things with Aisha and Jill. All right.
You can always bet money on the fact that poor people are going to vote against their interests as long as there's that promise in their head of money somewhere. Or that's the possibility that they'll get money. Never mind the fact that they can't pay their taxes now.
Right.
But it's in case just in case. Look, you're better off buying life insurance than you're just in case about winning
the lottery,
getting YouTube famous, TikTok
Bitcoin
famous.
on Robinhood and all those things. Yeah,
exactly. Because remember, that is just a modern dream of the person going to the record company and presenting their demo tape and getting signed on the spot. That didn't happen either.
It's the girl sitting. Who was it that was sitting at the got discovered? Lana Turner. It's the Lana Turner. I was sitting at this malt shop and they've discovered me, and now I'm a big movie star. Yeah,
right. That's
America's
like
always been hoodwinked.
Jackson 5.
Yeah, America's always been hoodwinked with people lying to them. They like lies. Americans seem to, that's what the motto should be. Lie to me. Tell me what I want to hear.
Americans will pay more for a lie than they will for the truth.
That's for sure.
Wow.
How you think Donald Trump is making all that money on those people?
It's sad, but it's true.
Let's move on. Something that happened this week, and it's a big thing, but it didn't seem to be that big of a thing in media-wise. But CNN Plus will shut down April 30th after a 1-month launch. So those people who don't know what CNN Plus was, it was a broadcast service produced by the CNN
service for CNN.
Yeah, streaming service for CNN, and they pulled people like Mike Wallace. Not Mike Wallace. What's his?
No, Mike
Wallace for sure.
Mike Wallace.
Yeah.
Mike Wallace. Mike
he
Wallace.
He literally just left Fox for CNN Plus. It's like, you know what it is? They must have not been getting the subscriptions like they thought.
And also, actually, and there was another lady who left NPR named Audie Cornish.
Yes.
Who was on All Things Considered. Who left to go to that platform too.
Yes. And you know what? They paid out
Chris Wallace.
People.
Chris Wallace. It's not Mike Wallace. It's Chris
His
Wallace.
father is Mike Wallace.
Mike Wallace. Chris Wallace.
Thank you. Mike Wallace.
But he looks just like him. So, I mean, but they paid more.
But that's
for the talent
dad,
that they got than they made back.
Yeah.
And so, for them to just shut it down this quick, that means that they're taking a loss. But there's some kind of insurance policy that it's gonna pay them back better to take a loss than to just keep going.
Cinema saying CNN not surprise, and yes, thank you for the correction, Jen. Chris Wallace, yes, but did that catch it? And were you surprised, any of you two? Did you ever watch any of it?
No.
No.
But I had heard that they knew they were going to do that. Because after what's his face who owned it, was it Jeff Zucker who had it and he left? Mm-hmm. So he kind of said when he came in that he was going to not have it. He didn't want that. He wanted all of their streaming to be on the same, like HBO Max. I think they have.
Remember, he stepped down,
and
too.
they have
they
have Discovery. And they also have CNN.
Well, yeah, it's Warner Brothers Discovery.
Warner Brothers.
Now. That's the whole body now.
They want all of it to be under the same umbrella. They did not like all of that. I don't know what the reason for, probably because of revenue. And also,
obviously,
if you pay attention to what happened with Netflix the other day, that the stock dropped 40%. It was kind of crazy. So that's sending like big messages to everybody, like, oh my God, what the hell is happening? And they think, and of course now Netflix is going to raise their whole sharing, the cost of sharing the
passwords.
And something definitely happened too with the Zucker thing, because remember, he was in the process of creating, but then had to step down after Chris, what's his name?
Because of his dating history. He had like a Me Too moment.
Yeah, something like that. And I think the challenge with that CNN Plus always had is one, like, for example, Disney Plus, the way that they rolled theirs out was that they rolled it out from people's cell phone, your cell phone subscription, right? And that, like, for Verizon, it's like, oh, you get this streaming with as long as you're a Verizon customer. And so that worked for a lot of people. MSNBC's their streaming channel is actually doing pretty good. So
Right.
that's, CNN had to go and compete with them.
It was all ego.
And just couldn't do it because it's like the NBC, the MSNBC streaming channel is like, you talk about MSNBC kind of leaning progressive. Well, they're all the way progressive over there, and it's like they've got the people over there like Mehdi Hassan, Zerlina Maxwell, and
it took them a minute because they had Paramount before, which was their other the NBC streamer thing. And remember, there were some shows that they had on there, and it took over a good year to build it kind of. And I still don't know if it's still doing as well as, because there's that Amber Ruffin, she's on that Paramount or Peacock. Is it Peacock? It's Peacock.
Paramount Plus, and then the other ones. Yeah.
But I think that the method that Warner's wants to do is that they can fund money easier when it's all under one umbrella. When it's sort of everything is kind of the return on investment. When it's separate, it's probably a nightmare to deal with. But you're right about those deals. There were so many deals a few years ago with Spotify, with Hulu, with all of them that you could have if you had a certain phone, whatever.
And guess what? Disney is they're very smart about how they did it, because offering the Disney Plus through the cell phone carrier, but then having Hulu and charging people for a Hulu was brilliant. It's like, guess what? The people that own Hulu, Disney.
I just don't like Disney, though. There's nothing that Disney offers that, I mean, I saw Hamilton on it, but to be honest, what? There's nothing I want to see on Disney. Not really that I can think of. And I'm the kind of person
a lot of old series and a lot of course they carry Disney Plus, remember, is like ABC, ABC Plus.
Roku has decades, and you can get a Roku box and go and find some of those free things, shows and old shows. And I don't know. For me, I'm not the generation for Disney. I don't think so.
I think one of the interesting things too is, and again, this is another good conversation of the whole world of streaming, because again, you talked about Netflix, how their stock just plummeted because everyone's going back to work. Yeah. And also the competition is so fierce, because when Netflix first started, no one else is doing it. But now you've got the Disney Plus, you got the Paramount Plus, you got the Hulu. It's so competitive. And I think also, I'm not a subscriber, but if I'm not mistaken, Disney has a tiered pricing system. If I've been told,
I wouldn't know, because like I said, I get it through my I get it automatically through my phone carrier, or my cable service actually includes Disney Plus.
Right.
So I don't even know how much it costs a regular person, because it comes with services that I have. But
so Cinnamon saying Hulu and Vudu will be right behind. Do you mean right behind going under, Cinnamon? That's what I want to ask. But I think the streaming.
I don't think Hulu will. I don't think Hulu will,
because it has Disney money behind it,
right?
And the way that they package and offer their things. For example,
they're live streaming. You can live stream. They're the competitor with YouTube TV. So many people can either have live TV with Hulu, or they can do it with YouTube TV. There's just a lot of choices. I mean, for me with subscriptions, I get a subscription and I'm out after I see what I want to see. I'm done. I don't need to see it. I'll open it back up and sign up again, but they'd be better off. I mean, I don't know. I'm just not that loyal. I don't have to be escalating. I'm on the market.
Christy White is saying that yes, that Disney Plus is a tiered cost. And I think that's one of the things that makes it so attractive, because I think, and I haven't subscribed, but I know with Peacock, you can subscribe with or without commercials.
Yeah. And see what Netflix, true. Here's the thing too, you got to also remember this.
And it's wonderful without commercials.
And remember this, Netflix got the idea about 2 or 3 years ago that because they got so many subscribers, they were going to increase the price. Because remember, they went from like, what was it, $7.99 to like $15.
Right.
And although they're saying it's the sharing, that's not what it is. you increased your cost. And
Yeah.
people left and went to other things like, and guess what? Hulu just announces they're going to have a $4.99 package from a $6.99 package.
Right.
So it's
interesting.
if people went to the competition, and
Yeah, that's what's hurting.
It's like I noticed, like, I don't need Hulu if I have Disney Plus, and you don't need Disney Plus if you have Hulu.
Well,
because they're
Marlon said it's part owner of Hulu.
Yeah,
No,
Marlon is
yeah,
saying
Disney
Disney
is.
is part of Hulu.
Yeah,
and
Disney is.
Cinema Canela is saying yes, she feels that Hulu and Vudu will go under. I don't know about that.
I don't think so. But I'll say this. Like the other day I was looking for Blackish.
Or they'll be bought.
Right. Blackish ended on Tuesday.
Good.
After 8 years.
Good.
It was actually a really good show. I really enjoyed it.
I thought it skewed for me.
I really enjoyed it.
I did not appreciate.
At first I was kind of but then
as a mixed person, I do not like the stereotyping of that relationship, and I found it kind of offensive after a while. Yeah, it was well written, the show, for all the other characters, but the black and white mom and dad earlier.
Wait, did you watch Blackish or Mixedish?
Blackish. The mom and dad, when it first started, when Beau Bridges was on it, it was a real turnoff.
Right.
You know, it was like, I didn't like that. I thought, I didn't like that at all. I thought it was a little stereotypical, and I thought it was kind of offensive and a little bit racist against people who were mixed.
I think the show Mixedish presented her parents' relationship a lot differently than Blackish did.
They also changed the actual melanin of the woman to, super dark woman.
Oh, okay. Well, you people watch, you ladies watch these shows because I don't watch them shows because I'm creating content my own. Thank you very much.
Yeah. But I was looking for Blackish to watch some of the past seasons, and they were like, oh, you can get it on Disney or Hulu. And I said to myself, why do I still have Hulu if I have Disney Plus? And that's when I was like, oh, so I dropped Hulu. But the fact of those two being connected and they basically have the same shows, it doesn't really make a point to have both. I noticed that a lot of people are getting the different subscriptions instead of like buying cable, and I was looking at all of that, but those add up. If you get so many, you might as well invest in cable like I do, because I get a lot of those with my cable service.
Okay, so let's just
but it's like, are you paying close to $250 for your cable? Because once you have had your cable for a good 10 years, you're paying top dollar. And if it's in one room, easily you can have, if it's in 2 rooms, $450 easily for cable. And the problem with all those channels, and the problem, it still comes in cheaper a la carte, because I kid you not, because I mean, I don't pay for cable, but I pay for my Wi-Fi, and my Wi-Fi now is costing like close to $85, right? And it'll continue to go up. And the only way to ever get it to go back down to a normal price range for that, plus my subscriptions, the only way is to change my name, because there's no way. Cable never stops. They keep piling it on and piling it on. And every year it gets higher and higher. And unless you start out as if you were a new person moving into your own house and put it in a different name, you will never get the advantage of going back to when the good old days, when cable was really only $40.
But
It actually worked out cheaper for me, because in this part of Connecticut, we have one cable service for this part, another cable service for another part, and you cannot even see local channels without having a basic cable subscription in this part of the state.
Wow. Okay, let's go
see local news.
Comments. Jen says Peacock is a great streaming service. Marlon saying Hulu is to Disney what Old Navy is to Gap. Cinnamon says, yes, Jill, I do sign in and off HBO Max to see what I want, then unsubscribe.
Right. Me too.
Got a brand design for a different market. I don't know which brand Marlon's talking about. I'm sure he'd tell us. And then DJ White says, good talks with Dr. Vibe here. Well, I'm not alone, and I don't do it alone, but DJ White, thank you for the nice email that you sent. And he is a friend and associate of Christy White. Christy told him about us, and thank you, Christy, for telling him about us, DJ, or telling you about us. So thank you so much. So let's continue on, and I think we'll the streaming is a conversation topic we'll have to maybe do in our upcoming new venture that we'll be talking about in the near future. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, that'll be a good topic.
Now, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. I know nothing about this story until one of you brought it to my attention, and I don't want to know about this story, but I know you want to talk about it, so go ahead.
I just don't believe her.
I don't even give some
I mean, I gotta start that way.
I don't know nothing about this story. What is this all about?
What did you say, Aisha? You believe
I just
her?
I don't believe her.
Yeah, I don't either. I feel bad that I don't know anybody who to advocate for her side, but truly, girlfriend is a monster.
Basically,
Johnny Depp is suing, background. Okay.
Basically, Johnny Depp is suing his
ex-wife.
It's ex-wife, yeah. For defamation, saying that things that she said, accusations of abuse, have led to him losing opportunities, financial opportunities, acting opportunities. She's countersuing. He's suing her for $50 million. She's countersuing for $1 million, saying that he's not telling the truth.
100 million.
I'm sorry, 100 million, saying that he's not telling the truth about the abuse. But all of the people that come in support of him, there's even evidence enough to suggest that she's the one who was the abusive spouse.
What we're dealing with, I think it's amazing that we're finally going to be able to have this discussion. As you all know me, I was never one of those let's jump on the Me Too thing, because I think that in relationships it takes two people to fight, and clearly these two people had the most dysfunctional relationship possible. However, it escalated to the point where dude, she chopped off his finger, it was getting really hairy. She pooped in his bed, so hoping that he would come in drunk and lay down. And so what we've kind of discovered is that he just happens to be one of those people that he has clearly was an alcohol problem, a drug problem. But I say, that when you go in marrying these guys at that level, because he was already famous and already established. But it just feels like she needed somebody to beat up. We're actually, he speaks a lot about, as a man, his mother used to beat up his father. We heard about a lot of that being a trigger for him, even working through when his mother passed away. And we know that these are things that happen. Women can be abusers too. They just can. And if you're clever, you can play the system. I mean, here in LA, we know that she had called the police a lot on Johnny Depp while she was here. And there was one camera that they had in their apartment building where, before the police got there, there's actual footage of her banging her head up against the wall, so that by the time the police got there, she was all bloody, and her sister was with her while she was doing it to support her and say, so, from the minute, I don't know why we have to even have trials, because for me, if I were a judge and that was all, I said, well, I can't believe anything else you say to me. I just can't believe anything, because the minute I see somebody walk outside and bang their head like crazy, so that when the police came, and Johnny wasn't there, and they were going to arrest him. I mean, these are like manipulative things to do that, God, I mean, if they were black, one of them would be dead.
Wow. Okay, just as an interrupting there, Christy White says, I don't believe her. Cinnamon Canela goes, Johnny, he is in trouble. He chose the wrong woman, gold digger.
Yeah, he
and
did.
Christy Wright says, yeah, it's bringing to light abuse against men. Absolutely.
And we need to discuss that, because I've seen it. I know it exists. I also feel it's kind of their karma to play out, but I also feel like, it's not defamation on her part towards him. She has a reputation even before he married her. She dated Elon Musk. I think he paid her $7 million to go away, or something weird happened. He gave her money too. Somebody needs to look up how much Elon Musk supposedly gave her. And she claimed to leave him because she claimed she was a lesbian. I don't know what girlfriend has to work out, but she needs to work it out. But next week she goes on the stand and we'll get to see. But I know somebody who had her in their film, and she's difficult to work with, from what I hear.
She's not doing this right at all. My God. It's like, first of all, you're lying and what you're doing is untruthful. But if you ever are like trying to figure out this kind of thing financially, do like Mariah Carey. When she was engaged to dude and moved to Los Angeles from New York and then decided they weren't going to get married, she sued him for $50 million for an inconvenience. For the inconvenience. I mean, this is all nonsense. It's just utter nonsense.
Yes, thank you.
The nerve of you to sue for $100 million. That in and of itself is actually a marker of kind of like abuse. It's like, oh, you're going to sue me? I'll one up you on this. How about that?
Just get divorced. Just walk away. Just leave. I mean, my whole thing was, why would you stay? But there was a real takedown. And now I feel like by watching the actual video, you kind of see that they're like the new War of the Roses couple. They're the roses. They want equally destruction from the other one. But I also feel that Johnny Depp needs to learn how to care for himself and love himself. This is the second woman in a couple of weeks that we have got to start paying attention to abusive women. We saw it with Jada, and we see it with this one. It's in the air, these very unhappy, whatever these women are doing allegedly, or even the vibe of what they're creating. I don't know. It's terrible. I've been in arguments. I have physically hit a dude before. It isn't cool. No one should ever put their hand on a person. Period. It's just wrong. And if you're believing in those old days of Gone with the Wind, you kind of, it's unfortunate. You have your rows and but you don't just sit down and go like, oh my God, poor me. And this one did that, when it reaches that point, it's time to leave, because that is typically with anything. You're not in a good place. It's a bad relationship that needs severe help.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
The thing that you just said about Johnny Depp needs to care for himself. I was having this conversation with someone yesterday that I said,
just like Will Smith, same thing.
Exactly.
There's some issues. We're seeing with boys and their mothers. This is really key. This is such a dynamic relationship. Not to cut you off, Aisha, but it is boys with their moms, and these moms are single moms. Moms are stressed out. The government's not helping them. There's a lot, that relationship, there's a lot of pressure put on young boys to be the man of the house. All these things, these dynamics, that discussion needs to be had, because it does impact them as equally as we say the father-daughter relationship. The mother-son relationship is equally as important. And a lot of times these guys grow up and they're people pleasers, or they want to please because that's their role. And it's critical that they have a support system. Sorry.
Yeah. No, what I was just going to say is that I was having this conversation with someone yesterday, with you saying that, about him, caring more for himself, is that he has to get to the realization that, he is worthy of walking away from bad situations. The conversation I was having was like, my 47-year-old self now is, actually really proud of my 18-year-old self for making some decisions about people and people I was dating that, like, I dodged a lot of bullets. And I think that he has to get to that point where he sees that he's worthy and start dodging those bullets. Because right now he's a waiting target.
Well, the reason why I said this story, to be honest, yes, I don't really pay attention to these stars things, but I do admit that yes, as Christy said, it's not talked about women abusing men, and
It
Yeah.
isn't.
and it's not. And Christy's saying here, it's privilege at its finest.
Totally.
And
Totally.
they really haven't made any, like, even just general movies or things about this issue since like 1992. I think I saw
Girl,
one,
that's true.
like I saw like an NBC Friday night movie or whatever. Monday night
Lifetime
movie.
used to do stuff like this. Look at
Yeah.
that Broderick woman. She like killed.
Betty Broderick. Oh my gosh. Don't ask me
Yeah.
why I know her name off the top. But I
Or
watched
Fatal Attraction
They
woman.
did
I mean,
two
it's
movies about her, a continuation after the first one, and she was crazy.
But we do have many of them, and we have there's just a lot that, as much as we say, okay, there's a tiger mom, a helicopter mom, and all these things, there's still a lot of pressure when there are single moms, because there aren't enough resources to kind of take care of everything that's going on. So it's a chain reaction of how it affects a family and the family dynamic, and then the external men and different people in the family. It's really very difficult. And you got to remember, during that time, Johnny Depp, 1962, he was born. There was very, very little for women in Kentucky, one of the poorest states in the Union, near the Appalachias, so there's a lot that, could stress a woman out with kids, and there not being anything adequate support. And as we know from old Mitch McConnell, they ain't trying to hook people up in Kentucky to make them, have a good night's sleep and have all the things they need to have without putting them through the grinder to get it.
Yeah, and don't forget, in Appalachia is where the federal government was doing this test where they're giving mothers Mountain Dew to put in baby bottles
and rotted all their teeth.
The rotting of the teeth.
Wow.
Yes.
So Christy White says, I do this work every day with men. It can just be as sad as working with women. Cinnamon is saying Johnny never married the mother of his kids and went to marry this one in a hurry. Interesting. All right. Last conversation piece. There's something unique about Florida. DeSantis, the governor of Florida, revokes Disney's special status after "Don't Say Gay" opposition. Talk about it, ladies.
What this obsession with Disney on the right is just sickening. Here we had earlier this week Ted Cruz talking about Mickey and Pluto having sex, claiming that's what Disney's doing a film on. And then now DeSantis is doing this because Disney will not celebrate their LGBTQ people, specifically their trans people. It's insane. It's like he's running Florida like it's its own country. I say we just chop it off and let it float in the ocean.
Another proof that Merrick Garland fell asleep at the wheel and crashed the car, and he did that. I don't know. I don't know. Did they? Has somebody abducted Merrick Garland? Merrick Garbage. That's his name.
And I'm trying to think what Merrick Garland can do, because it's not like he's a federal
well, this infringes upon First Amendment rights. This actually is getting into some really weird territory, as we mentioned earlier, with the math situation, all of it. And the Disney thing is a little bit peculiar. I find it really kind of perverted, the way DeSantis is a perverted man. There's something really wrong with him. Because what he chooses to go after, it's their perversions. It's almost like, I don't know, was he tortured as a child, like with a person dressed up as Goofy or something? Because he really has it out for Disney. And all because Disney had decided that it was okay to they spoke out against his law of don't say gay. And once they did that, this is actually a form of retribution, and it's a hostile. And what's crazy is it even has that girl Jan Ellis, the Trump's girl, attorney, saying she will defend Disney. I mean, Republicans are all fighting amongst themselves on this one, because you got to remember, somebody has some kind of donors that are on those boards. So something is going down. And I don't know what DeSantis is aiming for, but we know he wants to run for president. That we know.
Yes.
You can kind of see that it's headed down that ugly, nasty road. But he going to have another thing coming. But I can tell you, it ain't going to happen. Because Florida is about, I don't know, 40 years away from the current country that we're living in.
Well, here's the thing too. DeSantis is making this decision that he's going to run on the KKK ticket.
Yeah.
For Florida, for presidency, right? Because literally that's all the Republican Party has pretty much like boiled down to. But he's really pushing that, because at the start of the week there was the signing of the Don't Say Gay bill, and then 7 days later they redistrict all of the Black districts specifically, and
you saw that breakout.
A lot of those state house and state senate members will not win because the way that they divided the districts.
Right.
And
he really just hates Black people. It is so obvious. And so for me, anybody who votes for him, and this is really just blanket. If you know anyone who votes for DeSantis, just know they're a racist. And if you can live with that, fine, chill with them. But there has to be something that people who don't agree with that life get to do, like as far as like shunning you. Like we get to not have to talk to you, not have to do whatever anymore. And I really mean this. One family member, bye. If you invite them to your house, you're no different than they are. If anybody votes for Rick DeSantis, there's something there that they're racist. He's a racist.
All right. Cinnamon Canella says, hey, Florida is where it's at. She also says DeSantis on the loose end with Disney. Christy brings up something. They had a high school band sing a scalping song while marching through Disney World just a few weeks ago. And then Cinnamon says again, Florida cannot afford to make Disney mad. He wants to run for president.
Well, guess what? Florida actually can make Disney mad, and they should. And they should take the governor of Colorado, who's an openly gay man, who's the first gay married.
How does he sleep at night?
Governor.
Really?
He offered, he's like, if Disney wants to come, we'll take them. Ron DeSantis doesn't want Disney. He said Colorado will take it.
Wouldn't that be something? A little bit of hit on the tax base.
They won't do it. And you see how much money, you know how long it took. That is not how this is going to go.
Yeah.
There's going to be a long game that Disney will play. And I guarantee DeSantis is going to, he's starting to walk in Jimmy Hoffa territory.
Okay.
Look at it this way.
Think about it.
Get rid of him before he gets rid of them.
This is back in the day. I recall when you start becoming too pushy and pushing your weight around and different things. There are certain things that are an institution and things that are in place from the powers that be. He is walking in some very messed up territory, because there are too many different factions of people that intersect with their stock investments in Disney. And we're talking all kinds of people. We're not business people, and It's just locals. Everybody buys it for their kids when they're born. Let me tell you something. He better, what's that song? Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and fly right.
No.
And that was a Disney song.
Was it? Watch out. Watch out. Watch out. Who sung that song?
No, this was an old song that was in a Disney movie. You better
I know the song
straighten up and fly right.
Oh, God, I know what movie it's from, too. It's from an old Disney movie. Very old. Yeah, Yeah.
with the birds and stuff sitting on the, sitting
Oh,
on
was that
the.
Uncle Remus?
No,
It was a
no,
Song of the South.
I don't know. But all I can say is that it would just be so expensive for them to up and leave, and oh my gosh, whatever. But unless I don't know, he's just getting into some very strange territory.
DeSantis thinks that Donald Trump is like the richest man in the world. That's like the richest man in the world to him. Donald Trump doesn't have Disney money.
He knows he doesn't have that money because he knows he's just happy with the amount of money that's in his state. Because he's got the kids' money. You see, the $2 billion and the da. Does he have their money that came there, the family money? Because, Florida has some funky laws.
But
Christy
you know what?
says,
Don't be surprised if
I think it was
Dumbo.
Dumbo.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's Dumbo. Dumbo
It
DeSantis. Straighten up and fly right, bro. Because
don't be surprised when Disney starts not making its movies in Florida anymore.
Right. He's actually, they don't make the movies there anymore. Actually, the places to get the best tax breaks are in Kentucky,
North Carolina,
and
Atlanta.
Georgia kinda still for sure, and New Mexico is one of the other new ones.
All right. Well,
Texas has some, but Texas doesn't have like great union laws for actors.
I think that this will be an ongoing story, how the mix of politics and business has got to this level. It's going to be very, very, well, easier said than done. Easier said than done. Well, that's another episode of what they call Stagger State of Things. Ladies? State of Things with Aisha and Jill. Like, hey, I hadn't said it for so long.
I know. You like hop back for like what, 6 months?
Oh gosh.
I think we should just keep it as Stagger State. I
don't
know.
State of Things with Aisha and Jill. Stop it. Stop your noise. Stop your noise.
We just got the
gonna have to say doc. So you put in the private chat, Dr. Vibe. Remember. Christy saying great show.
Thank
Jen
you.
saying great conversation. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for watching live and also watching or listening live on the replay. We've got some exciting things coming up for you, but we're not going to talk about them yet. But one thing we will share, we are getting no, I won't say anything because people say, what else? So I'm just going to hold off for now. We got some exciting things coming up for you. We have, all I'll say is we have someone new on the team for a while. So just going to leave it at that. And when we'll introduce them in the near future, but they have got us even more jacked in a good way about what we're going to be sharing with you. And it's all going to be beneficial to all our friends and even our non-friends too. It's gonna be beneficial. But as always, before we let the ladies leave, we want to say, Jill, when Jill's going like this, she happy. She knows she happy. Before we let everybody go, we, as always, gonna say, Jill Jones, how can we get a hold of you?
Jill D. Jones at Twitter or Jill Jones Music on Instagram.
Excellent. Next up, Aisha K. Staggers.
At Aisha Staggers on Twitter, at AK Staggers on Instagram, and I might be sharing some of my music selections tonight on Twitter. So,
oh, wonderful. And myself, if you want to get a hold of me, the best place to get a hold of me is website, The Dr. Vibe Show, email dr@the.drvibeshow.com, on Facebook and on YouTube, The Dr. Vibe Show, Instagram, The Dr. Vibe Show. I didn't update my YouTube address on that yet, but hey, just look up The Dr. Vibe Show. I'm Googleicious. So let's just put it that way. I'm Googleicious. That's what we like to say. We're Googleicious. As always, I want to thank everyone again. As we say, as we close out, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller, get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace. And as always, don't just manage your time, manage your energy. God bless. Peace to all. Keep the faith. We'll see you next week. live anyways, 9 p.m. Eastern time on State of Things with Aisha and Jill. I got it right this time. God bless. Peace well. Keep the faith. Bye-bye, everybody.